Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to November 14, 2013 Board of Commissioner meeting. It's now 6 o'clock. I'll call this meeting to order. At this time, we'll ask Commissioner Franklin if he will open us up with prayer and we'll salute the flag. Please stand. Pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we praise you for another day, God, and I pray that you'll touch each and every one that's in this room, God. God, I pray that you'll touch each and every commissioner, God, that we make wise decisions on behalf of this county. God, and you touch us each and every day of our lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda tonight is to approve the October 7th, 2013 regular board meeting, also October 14th work session, and also October 29th work session of the county commission. Gentlemen, you had an opportunity to look at the minutes. Do I have a motion with a second?
After review, I would make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jakes and a second by Commissioner Strickland. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0. Moving into the items to be discussed tonight. First is public comment. If we have anyone that would like to make a public comment, please stand at this time and introduce yourself and make that comment. I hear none. We'll move into item B, the American Tire Corporation appeals of the building permit. Commissioners, we're open for discussion.
Mr. Chairman, if there's no discussion at this time, I would like to make the motion after discussion with council. The decision that we make tonight could potentially and will probably be predicated on ongoing litigation which involves both entities, which is currently active in the Fulton County Judiciary. So on the advice of council, I would like to make the motion as follows. That basically we defer action on the appeal pending resolution of the litigation known as American Tower Asset Sub Limited Liability Company versus Shelton LLLP and Jimeon LLC, Unit 2013CV 233170, again stated, which is currently pending in the Fulton County Superior Court. And I put that in the form of a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Jakes. Do I have a second?
I'd second that, Mr. Chair.
We have a second by Mr. Harper. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. 5-0 vote. Moving to the next item is the Poultry Lab acquisition. We had presented to us the Poultry Lab information at a work session. We have obtained that from the state. Now we need to determine the approval of the use of this Poultry Lab that we have obtained tonight, and we would ask Mr. Phillips, you got any statements, and I'm sure our sheriff might have some.
Yes, sir. As you stated, we have received a quick claim deed from the State Properties Commission. It's for .998 acres of land and the existing building on the site. What I would ask tonight is actually a motion to accept conveyance of the property from the state and also to authorize staff to record the deed. I think Sheriff Thomas has been looking at the building. He would like to relocate his investigators there. So I think it would also be appropriate for this board to recommend use for the property.
Sheriff Thomas?
John is correct, because as you know, the wide room at the present jail we're at, investigator, I've got one investigator basically working out his truck. And, we need some more room. We've been over there, we've got some folks that's come look at it for, and they gave us, they estimate some price for what they look at to fix it when we use it. And most of it, the price we're mostly looking at right now is just deal with up there, not there before, and we use it to process them. Because if we don't, we got to take them down, we got to take them to GBI next. And that would save us a lot of time. There'll be a lot of storage in that rubber there too. Probably one price I got, on the rubber there is around $16,000. It's big enough for 2 bays, putting people in there, and they process everything for us, fingerprinting it, any blood that may be there, and crime thing we use it for that too. And in the building, there's, of course, there's no equipment in there, there's no computers in there. That would be something I can look at, and I do have the splice money we could use for part of that. There's one splice I believe is for, it's not specifically says that I can use it for equipment, as an office equipment. We're looking probably around $20,000 there to remodel the building and to put the office and get it ready to go into.
So would it be safe to assume, Sheriff Thomas, that probably just under $50,000 would be, with everything, get you
23 plus 16.
16,
Closer to 40.
closer to, I'll just allow them to just something
Any
else to say. Come up, I'll do it.
Any other questions for Sheriff?
And we got some of those funds through the 900 and something thousand that we could actually use for those, is that not correct?
I think that 900 is for jail staffing and expansion of the jail.
I thought that was in previous.
We've got $100,000 in this block. We're going to buy a couple cars, but
Oh,
the
okay.
2 cars we bought, it went out of our general fund, so that's right, $100,000 I think is there, and it can be used for that too.
What's the possibility, Sheriff, you being able to squeeze that in your budget that you have forward right at the present time?
To build it, I don't think you can have it.
You don't think it would happen?
Not with the present budget we got.
We've already purchased some cars with the SPOS, haven't we? Do you know how much is left in the SPOS for the sheriff?
I'm afraid that I do not, off the top of my head, no.
I knew we bought 3 cars, and 2 of those may have come out. I know one come, but 2 of them may have. And the one vehicle we got for the jail, come out of the jail staff, can do that with that. Let it come out. It can spot. I mean, it can spot.
You know how much money you spend in the SPOS?
At the most would be 40, I don't know, we bought 2. I know we bought 1, and maybe 2, I think we bought 1.
What about the next, from my understanding, the SPOS money was to purchase vehicles?
I think it's a wide scope. I don't think.
But I mean, I think that was the general,
That was what we
we've still got another 3 years for the SPOS.
Well, realistically, I know we need to address this, and this is a predecessor activity to the financial component, but really all we're dealing with tonight is just the quit claim and the conveyance. And I would, make a motion that we move forward with that, given your assurances that you're not asking for additional funding from the board for the remodel and the construction of the Butler building. That will be done within the confines of your existing financial resources. If I'm,
We make it that form of motion.
well, if nobody has any other comments, I will make that in form of a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Jakes. Motion's been made by Commissioner Jakes to move forward to go ahead and file in order to put that in the county name, move forward with letting Steve Thomas, see if he can work within his framework of funds to make a move out there.
I'll
Is
second
that
that.
correct, Mr. Swift?
Yes, sir.
I'll second that.
We have a second from Commissioner Strickland. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0 vote. So we'll turn it over to you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Next is the jail expansion, and we extensively about the jail expansion. I was informed today that the jail was built somewhere about 18 years ago.
A little over a year.
I believe Herman Ayers might have been commissioner, and at that time, I understand that he was making the push to make the jail larger than what some people wanted it, because he said you need to be looking into the future. So it appears that he was correct. We're looking into the future here. We need additional room for Sheriff's Department. So give us other information here, Sheriff.
Well, we're overcrowded. We've got, our females, we've got like 12 in Jackson County today. And if you figure it out per month, you're looking at around $10,000. And each month, we've been anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000 paying Jackson County. And we do have, the other meeting we talked about, we do have a diagram set up that we'd like to use. But tonight, the main reason I wanted to get y'all on this was what we dealt with the last jail. I was around, and Gary was there too. And there was not an architect that was there to make sure everything was happening like it's supposed to go day per day. They just told them, go do it. Nobody made sure that Mr. A was finishing his job and Mr. B was coming right behind him to do his. So, we've got a gentleman that's done some work for the county on some buildings already. He did the rec department. And we've met with him several times. We went up, matter of fact, Mr. Strickland went up with us to Cornelia and looked at the pods that they built up there at Cleveland. And I've also got Tom was tonight, and see if we can go ahead and get something rolling, because the longer we wait, more money we pay out.
I understand we already have $900-some-thousand squash funds. And I understand tonight you're just asking us to set things in motion.
That's right.
That would be in stage one construction, getting a set of what I'm calling bid set plans. Is that correct, Mr. Wright?
Yes, sir. What the first meeting was to do the first phase, is to take it through the preliminaries and be able to come back at the end of the preliminaries with a true budget for the building, meeting their plans that they have put to, what we have discussed, being able to further do it and develop it into a preliminary, be able to come with a true hard cost, and it represent it back to y'all to carry to the next stage of going into contract documents and then putting it out for bids.
And again, Sheriff, just for concurrence and clarification for the board, you have monies that are set aside that will handle the design of the new jail.
That's correct. Thank you very much.
Okay, so do I have a motion to move forward with the commission, give a permission to go into phase one to establish groundwork to expand that jail?
I make a motion that we start the process.
Okay, Commissioner Strickland makes the motion that we go ahead and start the process. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Harper makes the second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, raise your right hand. We have a 5-0 vote to move forward. Next thing on the agenda is water sale agreement with the town of Martin. We looked over this agreement the other night at our work session, and I understand what we need to do tonight, if we approve, Commissioner, is to approve the contract that has been written, and we looked over, verbally to primarily giving the chairperson permission to sign this agreement, so we can go in this agreement with, the city of Martin. Do I have a motion that we do that?
I make a motion that we give you permission to enter an agreement with, City of Martin.
We got a motion by Commissioner Strickland that we enter in this agreement. Do I have a second?
Gladly second the motion, Mr. Chairman, authorizing you to sign the agreement.
Thank you, Commissioner Jakes, has made a second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0 vote. I will take care of that. The next item on our agenda is the mega ramp maintenance agreement. The other night, we looked over the agreement that we have with the state park and maintain the mega ramp over there for big events that comes into Lake Harbor. And for us to be sure that we're not charged as taxpayers, but we are using inmate labor to maintain the mega ramp, which would be suitable in carrying out our part. Do I have a motion that we enter in that agreement? Maintenance agreement.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Jakes makes a motion that we enter that agreement. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Strickland. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0 in favor of us to enter in that maintenance agreement. LMIG money has been submitted to us at our work session. You have the LMIG projects that we are looking at to submit for 2014. Mr. Phillips, any comment on that?
Not really. I think you all have seen the list of roads. We have 5 roads that we're actually looking to resurface with hot mix asphalt. 6 roads that we're looking to resurface utilizing double surface treatment. It will provide extended life on our roadways and do that at a substantially lower cost. This year for our LMIG funds through the State Department of Transportation, we're looking at just over $394,000. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have, but we need to submit a list to them so that we can make sure that those funds come our way.
And I understand we have deadlines on submitting that to this, so we want to go ahead and possibility look at submitting that list. Do we have a motion that we approve this list?
I make a motion that we approve the list.
Commissioner Strickland makes that motion that we approve. Do I have a second?
I'd like to make a second to that, and also want to commend staff for the diligence in compiling this list based on an extensive amount of research, field reviews, and methodology for prioritization. Thank you, John, Ralph, and I know the Sheriff's Office and others work to assist in compiling this priority list. Thank you.
We have a second from Commissioner Jakes, and I likewise would like to thank the in-house people for putting this project together. Do I have a motion? We accept it. Got the motion second.
Yes, sir.
We ready for discussion? Any other discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0, approval. Next, before you, we discussed the other night the proposed legal service policy with our legal counsel, and he presented something to the commissioners for their consideration. Hopefully all you commissioners have certainly looked that over, and if you feel like you'd like to make a motion to accept that proposed legal service policy that legal counsel presented to us, I'll entertain that motion at this time.
I'll make a motion that we enter into agreement as proposed by council and reviewed by the board.
Thank you, Commissioner James. We have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Commissioner Franklin seconds the motion. Any discussion?
I'd just like to thank Boba for putting forward this and agreeing for this proposal. Thank you. It's very good for Franklin County.
Any other discussion?
I just concur with that, with
Thank you, it's my honor.
If you're ready to vote, all in favor of this, raise your right hand. We have a 5-0 in favor of this, so it passes 5-0. Next on the list, we're talking about the county management position. As you know, Philip Morris, he took his old job back in the Corps and been gone now since the latter part of September. Since that time, we've had an interim manager, Mr. John Phillips, who has stepped up and handled the proposal for a manager. So I would entertain a direction from a commissioner to what steps should we take?
I think that, I think we need to step forward and go ahead and, offer the job to John Phillips with agreements and all that, if it's acceptable to him. And not have to worry about going through a process of putting it out for bids and do all this, if that's correct to do with council's direction.
Okay, we have, you put that in form of motion.
Yes.
Commissioner Strickland puts in a motion that we promote interim manager John Phillips to becoming the Franklin County manager for us. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Commissioner Franklin seconds that motion that we offer to Mr. John Phillips the manager position. Now we're open for discussion. Any discussion?
Well, I think it's an absolute travesty that we don't do our due diligence in the most important hire of this county. Last week, of course, I talked to you, Mr. Chair, and you said that everybody was on board for a 5-year contract. Never heard of a 5-year contract with a county manager. So that means that, you know, what's going on here? Why are we, even asked one commissioner I talked with over the phone, what does he know about John? Does he know where he graduated college? Does he know if he has any financial background? Didn't know, but yet was ready to vote for a 5-year contract and did not know anything about his education. So I think it is unheard of. I'm just disappointed that nobody else is going to get, we're not going to take applications, we're not going to look, we're not going to see if any body more qualified is out there. We're just going to go to the good old boy system and we're going to slide it right in, and that's par for the course with Franklin County politics.
Thank you, Mr. Harper. Any other discussion?
The other thing I would say, Mr. Chairman, is, to be totally honest with you, when we had talked about this and discussed it, we had made a determination after lengthy dialogue amongst all commissioners that we felt it would be in everybody's best interest, at a minimum, to at least advertise. Our interim county manager, John, has done an absolutely outstanding job. I've worked with him on a professional level for 20-plus years. I still think, everything being said, this board made a determination early on that that was the course of action that we were going to take, and I would really like to see us carry that to fruition, to do what is in the best interest of the citizens of Franklin County and all parties involved.
Thank you.
And I would again like to say this has nothing to do with John. I don't know what word to say, incompetence or lack of due diligence of this board for making this motion.
We have a motion and a second to move John Phillips as our county manager. And I personally would like to interject my views. I like a procedure where you look closely promoting a person that has earned that promotion. in-house person. I personally have watched John now for quite some time in his performance, and certainly when he stepped in as interim manager, I was just overwhelmed with the job that he is doing for the county. I know his background. I know he's very Christian leader and also very bright leader. So I feel like on two phases, we would be doing the positive thing by promoting within, plus in the long run, we will be saving the taxpayers approximately $40,000 in my projection for making this move. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, can I ask for clarification on the motion, because it was my understanding that the discussion tonight was going to be to move forward with a direction. I have no problem with that, have no problem with the motions that have been made, but based on what I'm seeing thus far, the motion was just to make the interim county manager an offer. That is totally separate from voting on the county manager's contract and us having a contract to review. You know, I have a totally different view and perspective of, okay, do I think that it's best for us to move forward with interviewing all applicants? Absolutely, but I would like to have an opportunity to vote on the county manager with a defined contract that, you know, John has reviewed and the board has reviewed. I don't think that you can handle all of that in one motion and expect this board to make a vote collectively on those two issues. While they are tied together, they're still distinctly separate.
The motion was made to hire him as our county manager, and that shows you the competency of this board. Because 5-year contract, 10-year contract, forever, how much are we gonna pay? None of that even existed, but yet we're gonna hire him tonight.
That's correct. We got a motion that we've moved forward and hire a manager. And I would ask Commissioner Strickler if he would adjust his motion so we're moving him in the manager's position, but at the same time that we have two commissioners that negotiate a new manager's contract and bring it back and get the consensus of commissioners.
I'm just asking for
Like
two separate motions totally, not interlinked, but a motion as to how we move forward, and then a motion once we have a contract in place that has been reviewed and discussed with all parties. That is what I want.
If we vote on this motion, we would have to terminate him if we do not agree. If we can't come with an agreement on a contract. I mean, you don't.
So,
I don't think. You know, with all the training and stuff that goes on, I don't think you're understanding what we're doing here tonight.
Yes, I do. I understand that we're going to vote on moving interim manager to management position. Likewise, with understanding that we will have two commissioners that will get with Mr. Phillips and negotiate his contract. Then, if he turns us down because of the contract, that's one phase, or if the commissioners turn his presides down, is another phase.
Well, I again totally disagree with this process.
So the commission board is not going to be able to vote on his contract. Only two people of this board is going to create this contract.
No,
Is that what? That's
No,
what
so Mr. Harper, listen.
I would like to
Two
understand.
commissioners are going to negotiate with Mr. Phillips, and then we're going to consult all the commissioners of the contract.
I don't think that's legal.
You don't think that's
For us to
legal
consult
for
and not officially vote on a contract with the county manager?
The only thing I'm asking for is we take two separate votes, because John is doing an excellent job, and if it's the wishes of this board to move forward with offering him employment, I have no problem with that. I respect the decision of the board. I think we should have followed through with what we initially stated. But that being said, I still would like to review the contract and have an opportunity to vote on offering a specific defined contract, something the board can live with,
I'd like to.
something the county manager can live with, and that's fair for all the citizens of the county. I'm just asking that we have two separate motions.
I would like to defer to council if this motion is improper.
Well, in order for the contract to be enforceable,
it would need to be authorized by the Board of Commissioners and approved by a vote of the Board of Commissioners.
But we
So
got to
that-
have a contract to look at, to know what we're voting on.
That's correct.
all
And
I'm asking.
I would suggest, my understanding of the motion is you're not voting on a contract at this point.
That's correct.
We're voting to hire him
We
As of
move
today.
him into management position.
without a contract.
I would assume that means under the existing terms that he's being employed as interim manager
We don't know.
until and unless
Until we prove.
the terms of a contract are arrived at and brought back before the board.
We haven't had a chance to talk with John to see if he's in acceptance of those terms, or at least I haven't.
Gentlemen, listen to our counsel. We're going to leave him
That's
on
right.
the terms we have now. We're moving him into the management position. We're going to have two commissioners to negotiate with Mr. Phillips. And after negotiation, we'll bring that back for your final approval on the package that we're offering the new management. That's certain.
Yes, sir.
All right. All in favor of moving Mr. Phillips to management position, raise your right hand. 3 in favor, all opposed?
I'm not in favor of not moving him in there. I want to be clear, I'm just not in favor of this process that has been pushed upon us when we changed courses in midstream, when this board collectively.
What happened to our agreement that we were?
Linked
Send
this
out-
out.
We're not in
Send
discussion,
out.
excuse me, we're not in discussion. We got 3 for, 2 against.
Since you put it in that context, yes, sir.
So we will move forward and negotiate with Mr. Phillips with a contract and get it approved by the commission. But now he is known as our county manager. And if that doesn't work out, so be it, on his part or our part. I see no other thing on our agenda tonight. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
Also move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Yates. Second by Mr. Strickland. All in favor, raise your right hand. 5 votes. Thank you, gentlemen.
are in its business.
Thank you, Stephen. Good evening. My name is Dave Bruning. I'm Assistant General Counsel with TriStar. And effectively what TriStar does is we're in the tower business, and what we do is we take land interests under towers so that in the end we can lower the rates that carriers such as AT&T or Verizon pay to be on that tower, and we can also increase the amount of rent that landowners get for providing the land for those towers. We are in competition with companies like American Tower, and really the reason that we're here tonight is because American Tower doesn't like our business model. They've been able to enjoy a model where they pay landowners significantly less rent, charge carriers more, and take the gap in the middle. And we've kind of redefined the industry. And in the broader picture, the reason we're here is because American Tower is trying to pursue legal action against us on several levels, including Fulton County, where they agreed and consented to this tower, just that we couldn't operate it before August 1st of this year, but that was the only stipulation. And on a broader level, we also have litigation in several states and in federal litigation. And this is just one more instance of American Tower, a much larger company, trying to take TriStar and manipulate and control what TriStar can do, and essentially create an environment where TriStar can't compete. And so that's kind of the broader brush of why we're here. And at this point, I'll turn it back over to Mr. Brooks to give you some more detail. Thanks.
Thanks, Dave. Sure, appreciate it. I don't usually do this, and that is hand out PowerPoints in advance of the meeting, because then people tend to look at PowerPoints and don't necessarily listen to me. But I trust all of your guys' judgment, so I'm going to go ahead and hand these out ahead of time for y'all to look at. We didn't get there on the IT front this evening, so we'll do it the old-fashioned way. I think American Tower has put in a couple of briefs. We only put in one, so this is sort of our second brief and leave behind. I guess I should give you one, Ms. Court Reporter. Thank you. Dave's exactly right. This is a big piece of this is about American Tower trying to coerce cell phone providers to follow them wherever they want to go. And the TriStar business model has really developed, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing for property owners like Mr. Shelton. They get more money. It also creates competition, so it's good for cell phone users because they pay less as a part of this. So really, the American Tower approach is very anti-competitive, and I hope you pick up on that this evening. First, we ought not to be here. American Tower does not have standing in this case per the Franklin County zoning regulations because they're not affected by the decision to issue the zoning permit. What's really affecting American Tower here is their decision to abandon Mr. Shelton and to abandon the property. And we'll talk about the specific permit here in a moment. But they failed to explain, in this case, how they are affected when they are abandoning Mr. Shelton's site. They conceded that they're abandoning the site. How are they affected by the issuance of this permit? They failed to articulate that this evening. In April of this year, and the timeline and the chronology here is important. In April of this year, American Tower told AT&T that it was removing its tower from the Shelton property and abandoning the site. In May, AT&T informed TriStar that they needed a replacement tower. TriStar built the replacement tower after receiving the valid permit at great expense. A replacement tower was needed by virtue of American Tower's conduct to ensure that there would not be a disruption of service for Franklin County residents. So what do? They're abandoning the site. They're trying to prevent us from having our business and earning a livelihood. They're trying to prevent TriStar from competing. So what do? They call a lawyer, and they sue us in Fulton County, seeking injunctive relief, trying to get a Fulton County State Court judge to tell us we're not allowed to have that tower. We went down and argued in front of Judge Henry Newkirk, and very quickly, American Tower saw the writing on the wall, based on what Judge Newkirk was saying and asking them. It's uncontroverted that they have told multiple people, AT&T, Mr. Shelton, Judge Henry Newkirk, this board, in their first letter brief, that they're taking down the tower. Okay? But they want to try to have their cake and eat it too. As I said, they saw the writing on the wall. They knew Judge Newkirk was not going to tell us that we had to take down that tower, in light of the fact they were making a representation that they were taking their tower down. So we agreed to a consent order that Judge Newkirk signed that specifically allows us to operate, to finish out the tower, and to operate the tower after August 1, 2013. They agreed to that in court, and Judge Newkirk approved that. I don't know where their lawyer was that day. Maybe he wouldn't be comfortable coming here in front of you and then having to appear again in front of Judge Newkirk. But they went and got new counsel who has done a wonderful job on behalf of the client. But I'll just call this what it is. This appeal is a last-ditch end run around American Tower's agreement in Fulton County Court to allow TriStar to equip and operate its replacement tower. That's what this is. I think it's important to understand, too, a cell tower has been on that property for 17 years. Well before the zoning regulations were enacted. We've put all the case law in there, but following enactment of the zoning regulations, prior non-conforming uses continue to run with the land. That's what we have here. And it's important to understand, they keep telling us they're going to take down the tower. The only reason they haven't taken down the tower is they can come in here and argue that something's false and misleading and this, that, and the other. That's the only reason they haven't taken down the tower. But the tower that we have built is not going to change the nature or the characteristic of this land. Okay? It's not going to create some new image or optics out there on this property. It's just replacing the previous one that they said they're taking down. This is really simple stuff, and I think I want to run through this. The proposed use of the structure was new cell tower to replace the existing. Okay? American Tower acknowledges it's new, okay? New, it's a cell tower, they acknowledge that. It's going to replace the existing tower. They told us they were taking a tower down, we put a replacement tower in. TriStar did not want to have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to build this tower, but it was necessitated by their conduct. There's nothing false and misleading about new cell tower to replace the existing. We've got the timeline on here that walks you through what they've told us, and the repeated occasions in which they've made representations in open court and to other parties involved that they're taking down this tower. We're just trying to avoid the disruption in service and to provide a tower for the providers in this area. So in sum, American Tower has no standing there because they've not been affected by the issuance of the permit. They're only affected by their decision to deconstruct the tower. American Tower is taking down this tower, and a replacement tower is necessary to, one, avoid disruption of service for Franklin County cell users, and two, for the property owners like Mr. Shelton to enjoy their property as a source of revenue. In light of the consent order that was entered in Fulton County, American Tower is a stop to end run and to try to litigate this appeal. I wanted to ask, with the board's permission, that Mr. Shelton could just briefly share his perspective on this. Okay.
I'd like to clarify American Tower's representative's statement about who owns the land. The land is jointly owned by Shelby Instrument and my partnership, Shelton LLP. Now, if American Tower can't get the landowner right, what else have we got wrong? What I wanted to bring to everybody's attention is that I saw the tower that American Tower is building just north of the tower on my side. And I'm an engineer, and I know that you don't need two towers that close together to transmit cellular signals. So it was pretty clear to me that they were planning on taking mine down. And I heard from my restaurant, a worker at American Tower's new site say that their orders were, when they got through at the new site, to come down to the site on our property and take it down. So it was clear to me that they were going to take their tower down. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Any closing remarks? You got it, 2 minutes.
My lawyer has instructed me to also just make the point that this is not an expansion or an enlargement. The only way you can create that impression is if they're not telling the truth about what they're doing. Okay? The only way is if they're not telling the truth and that there's some plan to keep the tower up beyond the dates that they've been giving us. I just wanted to emphasize that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. That closes the public hearing. Thank you.